everyone, my name is Brittany. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be reading a young adult fantasy novel that is very anticipated this year.
It's Brittany, bitch.
That novel is All of Us Villains, and basically it is described as the Hunger Games meets magic. And a lot of people have described it as a Hunger Games with magic, with all of the participants being careers, basically. So they're raised from their entire life to know they're going to fight in these games, which are basically like this magical showdown for the ultimate power. So there are 7 families in this world, and each of the 7 families chooses a champion, and it's a child, like it's a teenager. And this champion, if they go on to win, their entire family for the next 20 years gets to hold on to high magic. And I'm honestly 33% into this book, and so far I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm also in a little bit of a reading slump, by the way. So basically they are trained their entire lives to potentially become champions for their families and take over high magic. And then the previous year, then the book was started, there was a book written by potentially one of the families exposing this tournament and what goes on, and how the humans thought that high magic was lost forever, but actually one of these 7 families always has power, and it's usually one of them in particular. It's a really interesting concept. I'm really excited to see where it's going. I think the tournament's going to start soon, where I'm at in the book, and I must tell you, this gives me a lot of fall vibes, especially the first like 4 or 5 chapters. I literally felt like I was like in a Tim Burton film. I felt like I was in that scene from The Corpse Bride where they're like sitting at like the dining table and it's like sullen and like it's almost like so serious it's comical. And there's definitely a lot of points in this that I feel that way, and also I feel like a lot of points of this have like the Harry Potter Diagon Alley theme and like feel to it, and it's definitely very fall themed. And I feel like if you're looking for a fall book, this definitely gives me the vibes. Like everyone's supposed to be like villains, even though a lot of the kids aren't villains. I would say specifically it's like that they're raised to be cutthroat assholes who fight for their family even if they don't want to, and a lot of them are having a lot of like conflictions with their family and their own feelings, and it's very interesting so far. All the characters have like their own feel to them as well. So I'm hoping this is a good one, because I've really been looking forward to this, and I was given the arc on NetGalley. So I'll give you more of an update probably when I get to like the 50% mark, which hopefully should be like tomorrow or something, but obviously I've been reading things pretty slow. I think it's also the fall season. I just want to like watch my favorite like scary and spooky and fall themed movies and stuff, and I don't really think about reading as much. I really don't know why you think it'd be more of like a reading season, and I think it is for more people, but for me it's not usually. Maybe I'll change that around this year. I don't know. If only there were more hours in a day. I actually got to 55%, and we're in the middle of this tournament, and no one has died yet, by the way. I'm a little salty about that, but there is a shared bed trope, a little bit of romance going on. I'm kind of shipping these 2 characters, and I really enjoy that. I think my biggest issue is I feel like the pacing in the book is weird. I feel like some characters and chapters I care about, and others I just find really boring, and it just doesn't make any sense. I feel like some of them are like really enticing and I want to keep reading, and others like kind of bore me to death. And I don't really know if it's because there's 2 different writers on this and like they just wrote different chapters or what, but it's not just like one specific character. So I don't know if that's what's going on, but I'm just definitely struggling with the pacing a little bit. So anyway, that is my 55% of the way update. So I've made a very brave decision, and I think I'm going to DNF this for a moment. I don't think that me continuing to read this is smart, because honestly, I've been skimming since probably around the 40% mark, honestly. And then on top of that, I think it's putting me in a really big reading slump, and I don't want to read at all. And at first I thought it was the book before this, but then I realized that the book before this was part of a series, and I really wanted to continue the series, and I decided to read this instead. I think it's putting me into a giant reading slump. So I've decided to put it on the back burner for the moment and read something else. And if I come back to it, I'll let you know. And if I decide to DNF it forever, I'll let you know. But I also hate like DNFing arcs. Like I feel terrible unless it's like awful, but I just don't want to read it. I'm skimming it. I'm bored. No one's died yet. Like I'm just not finding this like tournament very dangerous or interesting. I want people to die. I want bad shit to happen. I'm like really annoyed. I don't know. I just bored. Like I'm completely bored, and it's supposed to be like the most interesting part of the book, and I'm bored as fuck. Like I can't help how I feel. I just don't know if it's for me. So I'm gonna go pick up something else, because I am so slumpy. I have barely read for the past like week and a half. So because of this book. I hate admitting defeat. I hate it. And especially when it's an arc and it looks like it's such a good concept, it just hurts my soul to give it a bad rating. So maybe the ending, if I can get to it, will redeem it in some way. Your girl ended up finishing this book. I forced myself to do this for you. I decided to pick it up after like 2 extra days, and I was like, you know what? Let me just ram through this. I have a couple of hours. I'm just gonna slam into this bitch. And I did. And you know what? Every single time I decide I would like to DNF a book, I've never been wrong in the fact that I prefer to DNF it instead of reading it. Because you know what? The ending did not hit. The ending honestly ruined more of the book for me. I mean, I was just so excited what I thought was Hunger Games with magic. But unfortunately, it's just not that. Like, yes, of course, there are young children who need to kill each other in a tournament, but otherwise there are zero similarities to the fucking Hunger Games. And it's just very frustrating because I just feel like this could have been so good, and it just was not. And I feel terrible that I didn't enjoy an arc, but I think other people would really like this. I think sometimes, especially with certain YA or whatever, I just have a really hard time. It just did not work for me. The pacing was just really off throughout this whole book. I mean, honestly, the first 40 to 50% is just complete backstory, and then we finally get into the tournament, and then I got even more bored, which was like weird. Like, I was really excited to get to the tournament, and I thought I was like building up something really cool, and even though like it was like 50% of the book, I was like, okay, maybe it'll get really good from here. It didn't hit. I feel like I didn't care about any of the characters, and there's only one guy who ever stood out, and that was Alistair. That was it. Everybody else, I don't even remember. I kept mixing everybody up, which obviously is part of the problem. Like, I just didn't care because I didn't know who anyone was. You'd think for all that fucking backstory that I would like care about those characters or have them better in my mind, but especially with the women, I kept mixing them up for some reason. Like really bad. And then like any other extra character, I completely messed up. Like, I don't know why, but they were just gone. Not to mention, there's like no stakes in this. This fucking tournament goes on for 3 months. 3 months is a long goddamn time to be in a fucking tournament to the death, okay? Like, I was really expecting more people to die, and up to 89%, only one fucking child has died. Maybe I'm a monster. Maybe an asshole. Maybe I'm a dick. I wanted some more deaths. I wanted some more gruesome stuff. Like, to me, that's how I was expecting. You know, the Hunger Games is gruesome and bloody, and maybe I would prefer this book if it was slashery or something. I don't know. The whole magic thing maybe just didn't work for me. I don't know. And then finally, at 90%, we finally have a second death. And that one is actually intentional because the first death was a fucking accident. And honestly, dude, that ending was one of the most unsatisfying endings I think I've ever read. Nothing is wrapped up and it just ended. And it just confused me even more. I was hoping the ending would have redeemed like the rest of the novel, but honestly just made it worse. Like, it totally dropped it a star. Like, honestly, there was only one thing about the ending that I liked, and then it involved Alistair. Surprise, the only character I fucking remember. And sorry for the rant. I think it's really frustrating when you think you're gonna love something. Like, I actually kind of had like high expectations for this, and I just ended up kind of hating it, and I think I'm gonna end up giving it like 1.5 stars because, I mean, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever read, but like that ending frustrated the fuck out of me. I'm popping in to say one of the other issues I had was the fucking tournament itself and how everyone was like just fucking talking. Like, no one was really trying to kill each other. Half the fucking time it looked like this. What are you doing here? Funny to see you here. You as well. Going to betray me again? I'm gonna end this tournament. Are you? Yeah, I am. Or we can make an alliance. Do you want to make an alliance? I can go for an alliance. Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. Let's have an alliance. That was the majority of the fucking interactions in this fucking book. Brittany out. And I'm still mad. It's been like 3 days since I finished this book because I needed to calm down a little bit because that's how upset I was. And I hate just ranting like right after I finish a book because sometimes like I just go a little too ham. So would I still recommend this? Of course. I still recommend pretty much everything I read because no matter what, someone out there is gonna love this. And I know there's someone out there who's going to love this because it actually has really high reviews. And maybe I'm just a picky pacing bitch who doesn't remember teenagers and wants to see them kill each other. Maybe I'm just the asshole here. It's like the Reddit thread, am I the asshole? Probably, and that's okay. So anyway, go get this book. It is published on November 9th here in the US, so it's coming out. Go get it quick. I'm sure a lot of you are gonna fucking love it. I can definitely see why people would love it, and it's gonna turn into a series. Obviously, this is the first one, so give it a try. Let me know if you read it down below, if you like it. I love differing opinions and why people like or dislike things, so hit me up, okay? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.